If you find out that a ship is sinking, are you going to continue to stay on the ship? No. The moment you find out the ship you are on is sinking, you want to look for the life vessels. You're going to leave your luggage behind. You may take your passport with you, something to identify yourself, and you will press to be on the life vessels. And you will ask the captain or whichever officers on the ship for instructions. Nobody that's on a sinking ship is going to deny the facts that the ship is sinking because they don't want to be bothered. The reason I say nobody, because there's nobody in their right mind. There are even people who are out of their mind who wouldn't do that. There are always going to be some exceptions who are so reprobate they don't even care about their own safety, they just want to be at ease at all costs. Now, when it comes to a literal sinking ship, it's very hard to find someone who will deny all the facts, even the facts in their face. But forget about sinking ships. I'm using sinking ships as a metaphor here. How often does it not happen that we, human beings, end up in bad situations we could have easily avoided? And the reason we end up in most of those bad situations that we could have avoided is because of one thing: pride. What I mean with pride, anytime you cling onto resistance, I don't care if it's resistance against an evildoer, or resistance against some evil thing that goes on, or resistance against something that doesn't go according to your preference. I don't care what is resisting. Anytime you hold on to resistance, you become delusional over time. Now, I'm not saying that now that you're holding on to the resistance, you're delusional now. But the effect is over time you become delusional. Why? Because when you hold on to resistance, you develop a tunnel vision. And in this tunnel vision, you don't see things clearly. You don't know what goes on. The only thing on your mind is to stop that other individual, or to get rid of that guy or that woman you don't like, or to get over something. I'm not saying you should never resist things, but to hold on to resistance, no matter what, that is insanity. And the longer you do that, the worse off you become. And when you do this, you put yourself under a lot of stress. Stress will harm your body. So you are polluting your own body by doing this. But hey, the delusion is that you seriously believe it's the fault of that individual you don't like or the individual you can't stand. No, 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 no. Who's the one who doesn't like an other individual? You. Who's the one that gets triggered when other individuals is mentioned? You. So who's the one with the issue? You. If the other individual is an evildoer and he harms the community, then you should call it out and the public must do something about it. If the public doesn't do anything about it, then you know that you need to get away from those people. Simple as that. But you're not going to keep yourself in a bad situation, being upset with an evildoer. What is that? Because when you do that, you are polluting yourself and you become part of the evildoer is doing. And the thing is, often we develop aversion, so dislike and hatred, or animosity in general, towards people who are not even evil. 9 out of 10 times, when people don't like you or can't stand you, it is because they can't stand the fact that you don't allow them to control you, or it is because you are like a mirror showing things about the environment or about themselves they don't want to see. It's all a form of escaping. Now, in life, you cannot continue to escape all the time. There are times you need to sit down and deal with things in a proper way. I'm not saying all addictions, but the root of many addictions is just people not wanting to face facts that are uncomfortable. I said facts. Just because a fact is uncomfortable doesn't mean your whole life is uncomfortable. Just because one bad thing happens doesn't mean your whole life is shit. No, that's not how it goes. Look, what I'm pointing out is that anytime you dislike someone or hate someone or have animosity for someone, the one with the issue is you. You are the one polluted, and you are the one not willing to constructively deal with differences and conflict in your life. Now, this negative projection on someone else, it works. It works if you have people enabling you. It works if you can get away with shitting on someone else. It works when your target can't defend himself and you can use your leverage to get away misreading them. And you always have an excuse why it's okay for you to dehumanize other individual. Remember, that guy you can't stand is someone's son. A woman gave birth to him. He's someone's grandson. He's also someone who continues to live with someone else. He may be a father to children, or he may be someone's husband. Or that woman you can't stand is a daughter of someone. Maybe the mother that gave birth to this woman couldn't have children and miraculously she became pregnant. So that woman's quite precious to someone else. But hey, you don't see any of that. Only thing on your mind is this individual doesn't fit my expectation of how things should be, so they have to be gone. So you're operating in a narcissistic mindset, and that puts you under stress. It makes things toxic in your own body, in your own mind. But look at this. You point the finger at another individual. Well, that other individual only triggered an expectation in you that was not correct. Now, I don't care if the other individual is guilty or not. That should not concern you. If they're guilty, it should be dealt with, absolutely. In that case, it does concern you because when it comes to safety. But whether they're guilty or not about anything does not matter. When someone else triggers an expectation in you that doesn't add up, who has the wrong expectation? You must go into therapy or go into counseling, and you must unlearn things and learn better things. You must face yourself, undertake the inner work, and live from the inside out. A lot of folks want to do this because when this happens, they have to not need to reevaluate everything else in their lives. And they don't want to go all that. And then you need to remember that, they've been victimizing others too. They have been negative attitudes towards other people. And now they need to realize that a lot of their relationships are based on this scapegoating. Now they look at their own parents who raised them. Now they look at all the other people that deformed them and shaped them the wrong way and enabled their toxic attitude. So it's much easier to just dislike someone, hate someone, act on the monster for someone else. It's easier to create enemies so then you can put all the negative focus on them, and that gives you the ability to bail yourself out for a while. But that's the thing, it's only for a while. Negative investments harm you, the one who has them. Negative investments pollute your perception of life, it pollutes your emotions, it pollutes your mental health, it pollutes your physical health eventually, and also ruins your social relationships. Eventually, you become addicted to your pain or your hurt being validated by other people. And then you develop this intolerance towards the hurt of other people. So you become more and more narcissistic. It's all about your hurt and your painful feelings and how the other individual triggers them. And how the other individual needs to be gone. As if expelling the other individual makes everything better for you. Now, if someone is truly a reprobate and dangerous, then why are you meditating on that? Just keep yourself in safety. Look, when you have negative investments, you become a liability towards yourself and towards other people. When you have negative investments, you are laden with negative tension. And everywhere you go, this negative tension follows you because it's stuck in your energy field. So everyone you come in contact with, you are polluting and harming them with a negative tension of yours. So when your social relationships go wrong, because people become uncomfortable around you and they leave you, it's easy to just say, oh well, F them, they're missing out on something. Hold on. Self-reflect for a moment. If they left you because they saw danger coming after you and they didn't warn you, that means they're just cowards. Be happy they're gone. You don't need people like that around you. If they left you because they had wrong expectation of you, and now that you succeeded in life, you need to update their expectation and didn't want to, then be glad that those envious and jealous cowards left you. If they left you because they were just using you and now it backfires on them, be happy. But if they left you for a legitimate reason, namely that they see that you are invested in misfortune and invested in danger, then you have to look at yourself. Then you have to admit that you did not push them away, but you were endangering them. So they did the right thing by walking away or by keeping you at a distance. If you were the victim of negative contention and they just walk away from you without warning you, that means they're cowards. It means they're enabling harm to happen to you. In that case, be happy they left. You don't need people like that. But if it's the other way around, if you were the perpetrator because you kept investing in negative attitudes, even if those negative attitudes were not aimed at them, the fact alone that you have negative investments means that you are negatively charged. And every time they're around you, that charge afflicts them. So why should they continue to put themselves at risk just to keep you happy or just to make you feel better? You should also consider them. And that means that if you have some type of wrong in you, admit it and look for help. And I'll become better. But often, when people have negative investments and realize that people are walking away from them or people are leaving them, they tend to see that as confirmation that their attitude is proper. They may even also develop negative investment against those people. And that's how it goes on and on and on. Listen, negative investments is you putting a suicide vest on, maintaining it, and expecting others to be happy with it. I mean, in real life, if someone out there will be walking with a suicide vest on over into your face, what would you do? Would you be comfortable around them? Would you approach them? Would you get close to them? No. You would call the police, or you would call the Secret Service saying, oh, there's someone walking up with a suicide vest over here. What is it about to do? You would run away. You would drop your wallet, you would drop your belongings, you would leave your car, because hey, that guy or woman has a suicide vest. If they pull it upon them, not only are they exploding themselves, but it's everyone around them. Someone that's walking around with a suicide vest, unless they are forced into it through blackmail, because their families will be hurt, people who do that voluntarily, man, they are so far gone mentally, they're willing to harm themselves in the process of proving a point. Now, you are not literally walking out there with a suicide vest, but look at this. When you hold on to resistance, when you develop negative investments, when you hold on to negative investments also, so the longer you stay in negative investments, you generate more and more negativity in your own human energy field. And that negativity not only does harm your own body, but it also brings a heavy tension in the environment. Everywhere you go, as you human being, your energy field gives off a signal. And every time you go, you leave this toxic signal around you. So, all this negative tension that goes inside of you, eventually, when it gets too much, will explode. So, holding on to negative investments is the same as putting a suicide vest on with a timer. When the timer arrives at 0, it explodes. But that's really what it is. So let's say you have an auntie, you have an aunt, and this aunt disliked this guy that she went to school with when she was in high school. Now this guy she disliked, she moved on with life. She kept on looking at the guy the same way, but that guy kept succeeding. So eventually she felt humiliated and embarrassed that she looked down on the guy and the guy didn't even bother with her. So now she got upset with the guy for succeeding in life, as if the guy was obliged to be worse off than her to keep her happy. Now, soon she encountered other people and she began to project that weight that came from her disliking the other guy onto other people. Then she disliked them. And over the years she kept on having more and more dislikes, and eventually she became this big woman that everywhere she goes, she doesn't even have to open her mouth. She already feels heavy when she enters in. And your parents often told you, when you speak to auntie, be very careful because she tends to get angry very quickly. So one day you told your parents, Mom, Dad, auntie, or my aunt is in her 40s. Why is it that I need to watch out why I speak or else she may explode? Who is she? You see the situation correctly. but your parents are brainwashed thinking, well, she's older than you, she's your aunt, so you should find a way to deal with her. But you tell your mom that, Mom, Dad, I don't think this. And you're correct about that. Because that aunt of yours, she is laden with negativity. And if that negativity is triggered, she'll explode. And everyone is in danger. And even if she's not triggered and she doesn't explode, everywhere she goes, that happiness affects the environment. She can go to a restaurant, and after she leaves the restaurant, everyone in the restaurant kind of feels sick, or everyone kind of feels uncomfortable. Or she can just walk by on the street, and everyone she walks by, every person she encounters feels a bit terrified when she walks by. She's laden with negativity that she built up over the years. Because she doesn't want to repent, she doesn't want to self-reflect, she just wants to escape. She is narcissistic, and she's likely becoming a narcissist, and she will likely never get better in life to begin with. So, what do? You avoid an aunt of yours altogether. You pray, decree, and declare that she is shut down, she won't be able to harm anyone else, which includes you. Listen, negative investments are not a sign that you are mature. Negative investments are not a sign that you have values. Negative investments really show that you do not want to deal with life in a constructive way. Everything is a conflict to you because you just want to escape, because you just want to be left alone. And here's the thing, when you have negative investments, because you're in this negative state of mind and because you have this negative tension in your energy field, you repel and push away good people with good intentions, and you attract predators and violent people towards you. And you don't even notice the bad people you keep attracting yourself. And you don't even notice how bad people are that get around you. And that's how a lot of people end up in toxic relationships, or they end up in violent circumstances could have easily avoided. Maybe you married, maybe your ex-husband, maybe your relationship with your ex-husband was a result of you clinging on to negative investment. And your ex-husband, who was a narcissist back then, he knew you were negatively invested, and he just triggered your demand for sympathy. And because he did that, you thought, this is a good guy. So you were so easily tricked by him because you were only focused on getting sympathy for your quote-unquote hurt that you were generating yourself. But now that your ex-husband is gone, you don't want to hear people telling you that, okay, your ex-husband was wrong, all he did to you, it shouldn't have happened, he's guilty, but here's the thing, how come you never noticed how toxic he was? Because you were toxic yourself, and you didn't want to see it. So you remain in toxicity, enable that other individual to connect with you. Because like attracts like. If you are operating in toxicity, you connect easier with other toxic people. When you have negative investments, you are part of negativity and you're part of the violence on the earth. So you are an enabler and a supporter of violence. So if you're in that condition, of course you will attract violent and reprobate people. And often you'll notice that they're violent and reprobate because you're not in your right mind. You don't want to be in your right mind, you just want to escape. Look, as a believer, the benefit is that you will never end up being a reprobate because you're saved. But it doesn't mean that believers cannot endanger themselves with the wrong attitude. It is possible to be born again with the Holy Spirit inside of you and still to die prematurely by your own negative attitude. There are believers out there who die before their time. Why? Because they are negatively invested. And they go to churches where people use Bible verses to validate their negative attitude. And because of that, they think they're fine. But here's the thing, they're not fine. And the pollution they invest in harms them, and it causes them to end up in bad situations that were fatal to them. Look, you won't get a standing ovation from that without having negative investments. Not even demons will do that. Demons will look at you and tell you you're out of your mind. having this negative attitude. You're out of your mind thinking that you can will for free. You still haven't figured out that free will was a dumb deception we invented a millennia ago. Even your common sense will tell you this thing called free will for free, does not exist, and it shouldn't even exist because it's something quite undesirable. The thing is, evil spirits clearly see when someone does not want solutions. And evil spirits are just waiting for the right moment to take advantage of the situation. Now, the evil spirits know they're wrong for taking advantage of the situation. But here's the thing. If you insist in negativity, then you're not really interested in solutions or in improvement anyway. So why wouldn't evil spirits take advantage of the situation you offer to them? Yes, when you hold on to negative investments, you are the one giving opportunities to evil spirits. You are the ones giving evil spirits the opportunity to be relevant. You are the one helping evil spirits out. You don't have to be an occultist. You don't have to be involved in witchcraft nor black magic. You don't have to do voodoo, hoodoo, santeria, you don't have to carry a pentagram. You don't have to have a Ouija board. You don't have to actually do paranormal things. Anytime you hold on to a net investment, you are a window of opportunity for Satan to operate in the earth. And when you keep doing this, you're actually insisting on Satan manifesting himself through you. So when you hold on to negative investments, you become the perpetrator that perpetrates demonic infestation on the earth. Because here's the thing, if nobody on the earth had negative investments, demons would have to pack their bags. Oh, where would they go? Oh, they have nowhere to go. But they wouldn't be able to do anything. It's because human beings feel entitled to have negative investments that evil spirits can roam around freely, infesting family after family, life after life. So, even if you are a believer, you can still be in error. And that's why believers ought to renew their mind. We ought to be renewed in our mind to have the mind of Christ. If you're not renewed in your mind, then at some point you either become stuck in some naive mindset that will put you at risk too, or you develop negative investments. Forfeit negative investments. Stop trying to justify it. Stop trying to have your reasons for it. Cut it out. I'm not telling you to reconnect to the people you victimized with your attitude, because some of those people don't want to see you, and they're right about that. And that may lead to explosive conflict, so do that. But be smart. Change how you think with other people. Change your expectations. Give up negative investments. Nobody can have negative investments and expect long-term solutions and long-term benefits. It's not going to happen. And there are believers who keep making excuses why their lives are not improving. They say, oh well, we're going to heaven anyway, which is false. The Heavenly Father never promised us heaven. He promised us a renewed earth when Christ comes back, forever. Some will say, well, this is Satan's world, so yeah, of course you need to expect that evildoers are having it easy. They're mentioning facts, but they're using facts as an excuse why things are not improving within. Now look, if you're under attack and things are rough around you because you're under attack, that's different. But if you're under attack, that should open your eyes to want to improve and want to be strong in the faith to overcome. But now you have believers, they don't go through seasons of attacks. Their whole life is one big misfortune. They go from misfortune to misfortune, tragedy to tragedy, sadness to sadness. There are believers out there, they're always victimized or harassed by some type of circumstance. And even common worldlings with no understanding of the spirit world think, what's wrong with this guy? He claims to follow he claims to follow Christ, he claims to follow the Heavenly Father, but how come there is no benefit of his faith working in his life? And that is correct. Some of those believers, not only are they stuck in going to church, they have far more issues than worldlings who are falling apart. And here's the thing, even worldlings with all those issues realize at some point that something is wrong. But those believers never see that anything is wrong. It's because of their negative investments. Negative investments blind you from seeing your own role and your own contribution to a bad situation. Or if you do see it, you want to unsee it. And when you can't unsee it, which is impossible, you want to find some excuse just to relieve yourself so you don't have to look at the matter anymore. Listen, forfeit negative investments. Let that crap go. Be at peace.